Hi, and welcome to another video by Jim the Car Guy. Today we have a very simple job. We have a 2016 Dodge Durango. We're going to be changing the oil and the filter. If you're watching this video, you're probably realizing that it has what's called a canister filter in it, which a canister filter looks just like this. It's just the insert that you're going to have to replace. There is a special tool needed to take the cap off to gain access to the new filter and to replace the O-ring. If you don't have it, you can use a normal socket, but I have a kit that I'm going to show you what we're going to use, and we're going to get this job done. So I'm going to bring you up there. I'll show you what kind of tools you're going to need to do it, and I'm going to show you the special tool I talk about to take that cap off. But first we're going to go underneath the vehicle, and we're going to drain the oil out, and we're going to continue from there. So come on, let's take a walk up there, and I'll show you. Okay, this is an example of what we're going to be using. We're going to need a ratchet with a fairly long extension so you can get more leverage, a set of sockets, I think possibly an extension, and of course the kit that they actually have to pull the cap off of the canister filter. We are going to use a light. The one I use here at the shop is made by OTC. But if you don't have this kind of a light, you can use any light as long as you can see underneath there where you're actually going to be working. Of course, you are going to need a suitable container to drain the motor oil and the filter into. Okay, that's where our oil drain plug is located underneath the vehicle. It's usually in the oil pan itself. What I will tell you is this. As much as you may be tempted to use a wrench like this on it to open it up, you never want to use the open end part of a wrench on an oil drain pan at all. You'll strip it out. Maybe not today or tomorrow, but the next time you do your oil change, you may wind up with a problem because you're going to round off these nuts. If you're going to use a wrench, make sure you use the box end of it like this, and then you can take it off. I never do that. I always use a ratchet to break it loose. We just put it on here like this, put it down. And then of course we're going to have a suitable container to drain the engine oil into. It's a little bit messy, that's why I backed you up. Sometimes you get a little bit of a splash. Alright, so we're just going to let our oil drain out now. And then once the oil finishes draining, then we'll come back and we'll reinstall our drain plug. So, alright, we'll come back in a couple of minutes then. Okay, and once your oil stops draining, then you screw your plug back in by hand until it's snug. And then we're just going to tighten it up just a little bit more. Wipe off any kind of residual oil that's underneath there. You never want to over tighten that and strip your drain plug out. So you want to just make it snug. Alright, let's lower the car down, and truck I should say, and we'll continue up top. Okay, and once we have the vehicle back down on the ground, this is where your oil filter is located. You just take this and turn it and lift it up just like this. And then you can, down inside here is where the oil filter is actually located. I'll bring you in there, I'll show you what it looks like. This goes over the top like that. I'll just put that on there for now. Alright, and that's where your oil filter is located, right inside that housing right there. So we're going to loosen that up. We're going to take that housing out, and we'll pull the filter out at the same time. So, alright, let's continue. Now, like I said, if you don't have that particular kit that I have, you can use a normal socket to get this out. And remember, it's counterclockwise off, clockwise on. All right, unscrew it like that. Now you want to have a rag over here because you're going to have a little bit of a possible drip. I'm going to do this here, but normally I wouldn't do it over the vehicle here. Right, what you would do is take your filter, and it just comes right out, just like that. These little pieces here just snap right in. So let me put this off to the side. Normally I wouldn't do it over a customer's vehicle, but I just wanted to show you. All right, now, you want to take this O-ring on here off. You use a screwdriver, a scribe, whatever you have to get this O-ring off, and you just take it, and take it off like that. And then to put your new O-ring on, you just hold it on here like this. And you, like I said, if you don't have a scribe, you can use a screwdriver or anything you have in order to get that gasket back on, just like that. The other gasket now is trash. Never want to reuse the old gasket. Now this filter only goes in one way. This end has to go down, and these teeth here snap right in. So you listen, and you'll hear it snap right in. We're going to put a thin bead of clean oil on here right now, and then we're going to reinstall it. Okay. Now this slides over the top, and you want to screw it in by hand. You don't want to tighten it in with a wrench yet, or a ratchet or a socket. Screw it in by hand. And once you've got it caught by hand and you're sure that you're not cross-threading the plastic housing, you could tighten it in and just tighten it down. It gets a little bit tight because the O-ring is going inside there to seal it off. And once you get to a certain point, you just tighten it down, and that's it. And then we're going to wipe off any kind of oil inside here, just like this. We're going to take our cover and put it back on, but we're not going to do it yet. We're going to do this after we start it and make sure there's no leaks. But it would normally just go right back on, just like this, and snap it in. But for now, we're going to keep this off for just a minute. Now, I just want to point this out to you also. I had this discussion with a lot of different people. It calls for 5W20. That's exactly what you want to put into it, 5W20. Don't put 30, don't put 40. You make sure you use whatever it calls for on the cap is what you use. Now I looked it up on the computer, and this calls for 6 quarts, so that's what we're going to put in. Always use a funnel, because even though you think you're not going to spill it, you're going to. Okay, now after we have our oil in, we can take our funnel back out. We're going to put our cap back in for the oil. We're going to leave it on there. All right, we're going to start this up for just a minute. We're going to make sure we have no leaks. Okay, now after we have the vehicle running, we're going to let it sit for just a minute, and we're going to check our oil level to make sure it's full. It always should be, I'll show you. The oil is supposed to be in a normal range. This is the safe area right here. That's where it's supposed to be. So we're going to check it now to make sure it's full. And you can see the oil is right up into its safe area right here. So we know that the oil now is full. We're going to make sure our dipstick is back in all the way. And last but not least, we're going to check to make sure that we have no leaks in there whatsoever. It's nice and dry. That's it. We're all set. The last thing we're going to do is we'll put that cover back on. It just goes in here. You turn it. As always, thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Don't forget to look under the vehicle and make sure you're bone dry underneath there as well. All right, thanks again. See you on the next one.